Kia ora koutou and welcome to the very last Library Life President's blog that you'll see from me. We're set up that we hand over on the 30th of June every year, so from now on it'll be Lorinda taking up the reins and guiding the waka forward. So I thought I'd just take this opportunity to share some highlights with you that I've seen over my 12 months and also maybe to talk a little bit about what I hope to achieve in the following 12 months as my immediate past president's role. Looking back, I think there's a few things that really stand out for me. I'm not going to go through them all here. You can track back through the website to find them. Real highlights for me have been, I think I'm seeing an increasing awareness both of libraries in the media but also of Lianza, so I think that shows perhaps that we're engaging much more with the mainstream media and being a bit more proactive in some of our advocacy, so I think that's been a great shift that I've seen. Of course, our Strengthening the Profession working groups, it's been an absolute pleasure to launch those back in July of last year, and we're about to see final reports from many of those groups, and we'll see the fruition of their labours and then decide how we go from here. But that's been a real highlight to have those big projects going on and be able to commit to something that I think we will see real outcomes coming from those groups in the future. I think we've seen an increase in collaboration across the sector. So we convened a meeting a few months ago with all of the other associated library associations, and I think we're starting to see a shift there and us not all pulling in different directions or duplicating efforts. So I think that's started. There's a lot of work to go into this yet, but that seems like a positive thing to have kicked off. I've also, of course, had a great time getting out and around New Zealand and, of course, to Sydney and also to IFLA in Europe, and just meeting people and establishing networks and having useful conversations. So I hope if you wanted to catch up with me during my term that you got a chance to do so. If you didn't, I hope that these video posts have made me feel perhaps more like a real person that you've been able to engage with. I've certainly had some of that feedback. Our conversations, we haven't always agreed with one another, whether they've been online or on the listserv or in person, but I've really enjoyed just having them anyway, because we don't always agree and have the same outcomes in mind, but it's important to have the conversation, so I hope that you've always felt able to do that with me. I get, of course, a year as immediate past president once I hand over the Pounamu to Lorinda, and I see that year has two aims to it. One, of course, is to support Lorinda and Corin as a member of executive to keep the association going forward. The other thing I think I get is a year without perhaps the short notice distractions that being president you have to get on and focus on some other work that I wanted to achieve with the association. Now, I have two key things that I've got in mind. One of those is I think that it's time for us to take another look at Lianza's structure and some governance issues to make sure that we're as agile as we can be in this century, so to make sure that we're still meeting our members' needs in a way that's as effective and efficient as possible. Something that springs to mind as an example is the way that groups can form under the Lianza code and rules, and maybe there's something we can do there to make that easier, to make it more engaging, and to make us a little bit more agile. So I think there's some work that we can do there. One of the other things I'd really like to think about is, are we providing the best support that we can for everybody who works in our sector? We do a pretty good job of engaging and supporting the professional and qualified librarians, but I think there are other groups out there. For example, I've got students in mind, I've got library assistants in mind, and people working in our sector that aren't necessarily professional qualified librarians. And I think we can do perhaps some more to engage with them as an association and support them in their work. I've got a few thanks I would like to make. First up, thank you so much to Jane Hill. She's been a fantastic mentor to me and really been my rock when I had needed you, so thanks for everything, and you were of course an awesome president for Lianza too. So you're finishing up your term with us at the end of this month. To Kim and Anand, who have served on council with me, again, thank you for what you've brought to the table and your commitment to us over the time that you've had with us. thanks to the office crew, both to Ellie, to Joanna and to everyone else in the office. You do an amazing job of making the President look good pretty much, so thanks for your support in that. And of course a huge thanks to Lorinda, who's been my right hand woman throughout the last 12 months, and I think we've made a good team, and I look forward to working with you and Corin in the next 12 months as we go ahead. So I think that's it. Ka kite anō.